This one is on artificial intelligence and how it's interacting within the construction field. Some people might be really familiar with artificial intelligence and how it works and are using it now. So some of this information might be basic for you, but I kind of wanted to go over initially um, what it is and how we interact with it, as well as how it fits in with the design process and the construction process in general. So, what is AI? Artificial intelligence refers to a system of analysis data, a pattern recognition, and it helps to assist in making decision. In construction, this might include reviewing plans, identifying risks, or improving estimates. It does not replace expertise, but helps process information faster and highlights issues that may appear on the job site. Automation versus AI versus software. These are three distinct things. Software is the tool you use. Automation performs rules-based tasks. We are very familiar with automation. That is basically what most software is now. And AI helps to analyze data to guide decisions. Understanding the difference helps clarify expectations. Automation improves efficiency while AI adds insight. Together, they enhance workflows, but still require human oversight. I think that's one of the keys I'm going to keep reiterating through this is AI is not to be thought of as a standalone system and to replace things. It's just an assistant. Automation. Talk a little bit about how automation works. Automation already exists in construction workflows, such as sending schedule updates, generating reports, or notifying clients. These tools save time and improve consistency. However, they follow predefined rules and cannot adapt to changing conditions or it cannot interpret situations on their own. Automation operates simply on logic. If one action occurs, then you have another action. It follows a predetermined path, you want to say. This makes processes faster, more consistent, but limits your flexibility. It cannot evaluate conditions or make decisions beyond its programming, which is why more advanced tools like AI are becoming more valuable. Um, you know, AI builds on automation by analyzing information and identifying patterns. It can highlight risks, suggest improvements, and support decisions. Rather than executing tasks, it helps answer questions about what might happen next or where attention should be focused. AI learns from data, including past projects, costs, schedules, and outcomes. Over time, it becomes more useful as it recognizes patterns and trends. This allows to provide insight that supports planning, estimating, and construction decisions. And AI becomes more capable as the user becomes more capable too. I have I myself have been using it more and more. And as I'm learning how I interact with it, I am recognizing that it's becoming way more of an efficient tool for me. But it's not what I had expected when I first started using AI. I understand how it works, but I understand now how it's not a replacement for what we do, but it's just as an enhancement. And how does automation versus compared to AI? Automation handles repetitive tasks while AI helps interpret information, guide decisions. Both are valuable tools, but they serve different purposes together. They improve efficiency, insight, but they still rely on human judgment and uh, and guidance. Okay, software. Okay, software is the tool that both of these things operate from. AI and automation exists within software platforms. Um, a lot of these platforms we already use in construction, such as project management and estimating tools. These systems become more advanced, helping users manage information more effectively and make better decisions without completely changing existing workflows. A project management system may automatically send updates, which is part of the automation task. If it analyzes data, predict delays, or identify risks, thus this is where AI comes into play. This is useful when scheduling inspections or other things. within the platforms. Some of these platforms can recognize, will integrate weather forecasting into their software as well. So if you want to schedule an inspection, it might see that day as you might have bad weather coming up. So it might make a suggestion as to, you might not want the inspection this day, or you might not want materials delivered this day because it is going to be rainy, it's going to be wet, but then ultimately it only makes these suggestions. You as the user will make the decision. And how AI automation and software work together, it's kind of like a stack effect. Think of it as a layer on top of existing tools. Software provides the platform, automation handles repetitive tasks, and AI adds intelligence. This layered approach enhances workflow without requiring complete overhaul of how projects are currently managed. And there's different types of AI used in residential construction. There are three primary types. There's predictive AI, generative AI, and uh, computer vision. Predictive AI, uses past data to forecast outcomes. It common uses, it's project scheduling, cost estimating, and risk identification. And then predictive AI helps you see problems before they happen, like what I just said about the weather. It learns to foresee things, and it learns how you operate as an individual as well. So generative AI in residential construction, it creates new content from data. Uh, Common uses, design concepts, marketing content, and documentation. I might use generative AI when I put a webinar together, when I want to create diagrams or visual aids within there. Um, this is a more formal type of AI that's used for home design option in layouts. So if you subscribe to one of the softwares or AI platforms that helps with the design side of things, this is generative AI is generally where that's going to come from. In computer vision in residential construction, this interprets images and videos. So if you see an example of job site photo-based AI, um, these are very platform-based, which means generally you have to have a subscription for these to work properly. And some of these computer vision AI softwares allows you to go onto a job site with a camera and take pictures of different portions of the job site, particularly during inspection times. And then it will look at those images, and it can, on its own, go through those images and find flaws or defects or things that are wrong. It can also track those job sites as well. If you take a picture of the framing stage, it will then know that it's in the framing stage, and then it will generate, if you want inspection reports or things that have to happen during that stage, it can follow along and track the progress of the job site completely by photos alone. And here's a little comparison chart. Predictive AI forecasts its outcomes, predict projects delays, generative AI creates new content, generate home design, and computer vision analyzes images, videos, and direct job site issues. If anybody has used a software like ChatGPT, that is more of a predictive AI. It does a little generative where it can create content for you as far as Word documents, and it can do some visual and creation. Like if you take a picture of a house and you want to change the exterior materials on that house, it can do stuff like that. But it's not as intuitive or design specific as generative AI and computer vision when you go into the subscriptive platforms. AI does not replace, it supports. Um, So AI is designed to support human work, not replace it. It provides insight and recommendations, but does not make final decisions. Human expertise remains critical for interpreting results, ensuring appropriate actions are taken. Yeah, people are afraid right now that somehow AI is going to start replacing people. It, at this point, it's not a replacement tool for an individual. It's completely as an assistant. Think of it as an intern. And it's your job and responsibility to give them work, but then it also is your responsibility to follow up and evaluate the quality of that work. And as you become more familiar and more comfortable, um, you might do less evaluating, but then that's where some of the problems might be as far as getting too comfortable using AI as a platform. And AI does not replace professional judgment. Um, construction involves many variables. We all know that, and requires expertise and judgment. AI can assist highlighting information, but it cannot fully understand context or intent. Professionals must review outputs and make final decisions based on their expertise. Your role in the AI process. Users play a key role in ensuring AI is effective. The quality of output depends on the quality of the input. Reviewing and validating results is essential to ensuring accuracy and reliability in real-world applications. Again, if you think of this as AI as an intern or as a newer employee, the better information you give them, the better instruction you give them is going to determine quality of the work that you get out of them. In some of the ways AI can help contractors help AI helps contractors work more effectively by reducing time spent on repetitive tasks, improving estimating accuracy, and organizing project information. It allows teams to focus more on decision making and less on administrative work, ultimately improving productivity, helping projects run more smoothly from start to finish. How AI assists your workflow. AI supports workflow across all phases of the projects, including planning, estimating, construction, and closeout. It helps organize data, flag potential issues, and improve coordination between teams. This leads to fewer mistakes, better communication, and more consistent project outcomes. AI does not replace you, it empowers you. Again, like I said, AI is not a replacement for skilled professionals. It supports decision making, providing insight and recommendations. It cannot take responsibility for the outcomes. Human experience is essential for interpreting results, making judgment, and ensuring quality throughout the construction process. Key success, start small. Obviously, you don't want to just jump in with everything. Successful use of AI starts with clear goals, quality input data, and consistent review outputs. Teams should begin with simple applications, learn what works, gradually expand usage. Interpreting AI into existing workflows is more effective than trying to completely replace processes. So I would start very small. We all use AI now, especially if you use Google and you Google something. I know that's a word now. It gives you the option of an AI response as well now. So we all use it, but we don't use it in a work life experience sometimes. So if you're gonna, a good example of starting small might be just reviewing paperwork, getting a bunch of documentation in. That's an easy way. You can feed that documentation directly into an AI, a platform like ChatGPT. And if it's a PDF, you can just upload the PDF. It can read that. So if it can take a 20-page document, it can summarize that into maybe like a 2 or 3-page document then, pulling the key parts out and allowing you to review them more effectively. And what AI looks like on a job site, AI might be used to generate takeoffs from plans, analyze photos for quality issues, suggest design improvements, or summarize information. These tools help reduce errors, improve efficiency, but still require validation. AI-assisted takeoffs and plans. AI-assisted takeoff allows users to upload plans, quickly generate material quantities. This reduces the time required for manual measurements, improves consistency. However, these outputs should be reviewed carefully. This is one I've played with a few times, and I find it's very good and effective on how it works. But again, the first few times I've done this, and I have some examples I'll show you a little later on, it gave me not the outcome that I was looking for. And how it works, you upload plans, you create a prompt, AI processes that, and then you can review the results. Um, and what I used the first few times that I did this, as far as creating a takeoff or getting a materials list, I started very basic. I took a set of plans, which are just, what we see here. And there was, I think this was like a 10 set of plans. That was a pretty good set of plans. I wanted it to to know that I'm planning on framing this building to APA advanced framing guidelines. So rather than trying to explain what all that is, I actually went on to the APA website, downloaded their PDF document, which explains the details on how to do advanced framing. And then I created a prompt. Basically, a prompt is something that you're going to use to give it instructions. A prompt is an instructions or a set of instructions. And the more detailed your prompts are, the better those sets of instructions are going to be. I'm going to make an attempt here to try to pull up my prompt. So I'm probably going to end up just doing that at the end. You can kind of see that here on the left of the screen. My initial prompt was very small. And so I got back a materials list breakdown, but it just gave it in a Word document. And the more I learned, the more information I put in there. And actually, what I learned was I can put it into an Excel spreadsheet. So I explained to it what I wanted. I want this in Excel spreadsheet, and I want it to be able to interpret costs. So I can put costs in on individual lines. And then based on that, it gave me an output of an Excel spreadsheet with the lumber broke down by interior walls, exterior walls, top plates, bottom plates, and linear feet. And then sheathing, interior sheathing, exterior sheathing. And so that was my first attempt at it. And when I did that and AI gave me the results, I went back and did it the old school way, manually sitting down with a ruler and figuring it out what the material takeoff was going to be, like you would do on like a custom build. And it was very, very accurate. I would say within 3 to 5% of what I did manually, AI did. It took me a while to do that. AI did that same takeoff in about a minute and a half. The entire framing material takeoff in about a minute and a half. And it was, I would say, within 5% of what I had gotten. So it's a very accurate information gatherer, but it really all depends on what information you're putting in. The better the quality of the input, the better the quality of the output you're going to get. And it can do smart material calculations as well. AI can convert dimensions into real material quantities, including studs, sheathing, roofing materials. It also account for waste, layout efficiencies. This leads to more accurate estimates and helps reduce overall ordering and material shortages. In cost estimating integration, AI can link materials quantities directly to pricing data, creating a faster, more consistent cost estimate. This helps improve bidding accuracy and allows teams to evaluate different scenarios quickly, supporting better financial results. And I actually, when I did my framing takeoff, I asked it to go onto the local big house builder website, which was, I think I used Lowe's at that point, and it actually pulled lumber pricing off of there and inputted it into the spreadsheet as well. But you always want to double check that. And if you don't have access to that online, you're going to have to manually put that information in there. And in documentation and communication support, I think this is an area where everybody can benefit the most. AI can generate reports, meeting notes, and project documentation. Helps keep information organized and consistent. This improves communication between team members, reduces the risk of missing important details throughout the project. I know within our team, when we have our staff meetings, we use Zoom, and Zoom has the ability, an AI portion within Zoom, that it will generate a Zoom meeting notes and send them out to all our team members when it's done. So that's just one of the ways that I think AI is going to benefit, especially on the communication side between team members. It can learn from past projects. AI can analyze past product data to identify patterns such as material usage, cost trends, and common issues. These insights help teams improve future projects by avoiding repeated mistakes and making more detailed decisions. I find the more I use, I have a subscription to ChatGPT I just got, and I find that when I'm asking it for information or to create an image for me, it will reference past discussions that we've had and ask if it wants to create something based within that genre or within that context. So it does learn, and it will learn individual users' idiosyncrasies or requests that you might have. It helps carry the workload. Many construction teams manage multiple responsibilities at once, especially the smaller the construction firm or the design firm. You might have one person doing two or three things that might be spread out over more people. In a larger firm, it helps reduce workload by organizing information, automating tasks, improving quick insights. This allows teams to focus on higher value activities, and it helps improve overall efficiencies. And AI as an assistant, AI should be viewed as an assistant that supports your work. It provides recommendations and insights, but does not make final decisions. Maintaining control over the process ensures that results are accurate and appropriate for each project. Now, what are some of the risks and limitations with AI? Uh, One of the things is people are concerned about, especially data security. Using AI tool also often involves uploading project data, and it's important to understand how that data is handled and use secure platforms to protect sensitive information. Anytime we upload things into the web, we do this with our banking, but if you want to upload, particularly to a specific platform, I'm going to reference ChatGPT again, because this is the easiest one people get introduced to. You can use it for free on a very limited basis. But you need to understand there's a settings within ChatGPT. If you want your data more secured, you have to go in there and make those changes. It doesn't do it automatically. And these platforms are designed to take your information, the large, and learn from it. So they're wanting to use what you're asking it to do to improve efficiencies across their entire platform. They might not use your specific data, but they're going to use the processes used in that, gaining that data to make their AI work a little better. You can opt out of that, but those are important things you want to find out about the platform that you're using, especially if it's a platform that you're paying for. Those are questions you're going to need to ask them, especially if you're going to upload blueprints and you want those blueprints to be secure and not be used for something else. Those are things you got to think about. Another problem we have is misinterpretation of outputs. You know, AI may misunderstand drawings, specifications within those drawings, and the intent of those drawings, and it can miss key details. It does a very good job of reading blueprints, but sometimes it might miss, header size or beam size or call out on, the type of shingle that's being called for. So you always want to make sure, again, this is one of those review processes. You always want to make sure that when it's giving you suggestions or a plan, that you review what it's done and just don't rely on AI to make the correct decision all the time. It can make mistakes. Again, think of it as an intern or a new employee or somebody with very little knowledge about the industry or is learning about the industry. That's what you're dealing with here. So they might seem like it's a good answer, but you always want to still double check and confirm with what those answers are. Again, data and privacy security. be careful in any time you're uploading anything into the web. I'm going to, you know, reinforce that constantly with this. You want to make sure that you're not uploading information that you don't want shared or used to create a better AI platform. Cost and implementation. Adopting AI does have a cost involved with that. Training, workflow changes. We all, as in this industry, understand whether you're a builder and you're starting to use a new tool. Um, there's going to be that learning curve where the first few times you use it, is going to be different than the last few times you use it. Like we talk about air sealing as an industry now. When people first started talking about air sealing, it was a lot of head scratching. People didn't understand what was going on. They're all learning how to do it. We got to get our air sealing down to 3 ACH 50. And through trial and error, the first time we did that looked completely different, the first house, than the 10th house that you did that on. By the 10th house you've done that, you've got the system down, you understand how it works. It's almost all automatic at that point. Think of implementing AI just like that. Start small. Understand that it's going to take some time to get it right. So a task that might take you 20 minutes now. Believe it or not, the first time you try to do it with AI might take you that exact amount of time, if not longer, because you're learning how to create prompts, you're learning how to communicate with it. But after you've done it repeatedly over and over again, you learn, it learns, and what took you 20 minutes the first time might only take you a minute or less than a minute the 10th or the 20th time you use it. So, all right, construction, quality control, and compliance. This is another section that I think would benefit most people. All right, this section focuses on where AI delivers some of the most immediate value. Quality control and compliance in residential construction has many issues that are very complex. They're often missed due to time constraints, communication gaps, or a lack of visibility. AI helps act as an additional layer of review, supporting teams and identifying potential problems earlier and improving overall project consistency before inspections occur. Okay, typical job site challenges include limited supervision, multiple trades working at the same time, and inconsistent communication. These conditions create opportunities for missed details, incorrect installations, and rework. AI helps address these challenges by improving better visibility into job site conditions, organizing information, and identifying issues that might go otherwise unnoticed until later stages. We all know the earlier we catch these things, the cheaper it is to make these fixes and changes. As you move on throughout the construction process, it becomes more expensive. And where does AI fit in quality control? It fits in at multiple stages. Before construction, it starts at the plan review stage. And during the construction, through the progresses, the monitoring the entire construction process. Quality control can also come into the pre-inspection through readiness checks. This layer approach helps reduce risk by catching issues early, and they are easier and less expensive to correct, improving overall project outcomes. From plan to field execution, one of the most common issues in construction is gaps between what is shown on plans and what is built in the field. AI can help compare design intent and field conditions by analyzing plans alongside job site photos and reports, identifying inconsistencies early and helping prevent costly corrections or inspection failures. And again, when I talk about photo AI, that's one of those, at this point, that's one of those pay to play systems where there's no real other way than if you're going to get a subscription that you're going to be able to use the photo version of AI as far as job site reviews go. AI assisted plan review, what it can flag. AI can act as a first review tool for construction documents by identifying missing dimensions, conflicting notes, or coordination issues between systems. While it does not replace formal review process, it helps improve quality of documents before they are used, reducing confusion and improving communication between teams. Installation quality checks. AI supports installation quality checks by analyzing key areas such as framing alignment, spacing, insulation coverage, and air sealing. These are areas where small mistakes can lead to larger performance and or inspection issues. Early identification allows teams to correct problems before they become more expensive or time consuming. This is another area where I've been pretty successful in getting AI to work for me. Actually creating pre-inspection checklists. It's very good at taking uh, AI IECC information, and if you're going to have an insulation inspection, it can create a specific inspection report or guideline that can be used to inspect that particular house. Especially this is good if you have new employees who have never done an inspection before and they don't understand what an insulation inspection might entail. This can create that document for them. It can even create an Excel spreadsheet that then they can take to the job site and they can work down through that document and ensure that everything is correct and prepared for the inspection. And again, photo-based QA and QC, generally a specialized software needed for this. And again, like I said, you upload photos, AI and analyzes that installation and flags potential issues. At this point, most of those softwares are kind of on the expensive side, running from a few $100s a month to more. The cheaper versions on those things running $1,000 to $2,000 a year for the use of those tools. Small firms might be harder to justify the cost of those initially. But if you're looking at how it can support or make a team more effective or reducing some of the workload on some of those team members, those costs might be justified in the end. Some of the common issues AI can catch, it can catch poor insulation installation, poor air sealing, incorrect window, framing errors. Most of these are simple but expensive if missed. AI can help catch all those early. And code compliance support. This is another good one. AI can assist with organizing, summarize code requirements, helping users understand what needs to be addressed at each stage of construction. First time somebody ever reads a code book, they understand like it's written, it seems, by engineers and lawyers. It's very complicated and detailed document. AI has the ability to look at those documents and help organize it and summarize it in a more understandable and logical terms. You still always want to be able to have that ability to go back and reference that code book, but it makes understanding what you're looking at and looking for during those times easier. And inspection readiness. Inspection readiness is about making sure everything is complete, accessible, and documented before an inspector arrives. AI can help generate checklists, track completed work, and flag missing items. This reduces the likelihood of failed inspections, delays, and repeated visits, which ultimately save time and money. Again, this is just another document that AI can help you with, creating an inspection readiness report before an inspector gets to the job site. It can create a list or a document that you can review. You can send with like a site supervisor or a carpenter, that they can take that document and go to a job site and just confirm that all the documents are there in the job site box. Everything is done as far as the actual inspection that they're going to be doing, and just make the potential for failing that inspection a little bit less. Material installation tracking. AI can track materials from delivery through installation and helping ensure that what was specified is what was actually installed. This improves accountability, reduces the risk of substitution and errors, and could affect performance and requirements later on. So it can coordinate not only the cost of materials, what materials were delivered to the job site, and if there's a lot of materials left over, or if materials were misused, or we didn't enough materials weren't ordered, it can help determine all those things where the errors were made and correct that in the future as well. It helps communication between teams. Construction projects involves multiple teams, and miscommunication is a common source of problems. That helps centralize project information, making it easier to share updates, track issues, and ensure everyone is working from the same data. And improves coordination and reduces the risk of mistakes. This is one of those things, if you have to create presentations, this slide here for me was something that I created basically on my own using AI. As I created this presentation, I needed some diagrams. So through my experience, the first time I created a prompt, I got nothing. This is something that I have done, and you can see the quality of it's a little better. I should have kept the first one that I did with AI. It looked like a 3-year-old did it with a set of crayons. It was terrible, and I was really disappointed in how well AI was able to help me. Then I understood like it's me, my communication style and communication with AI is what the problem was. Just like communicating between an architect and a builder, a site supervisor and a HVAC technician who's installing some equipment. The communication is important, and the clarity of that communication is important. And AI is very good at helping you make clear communication pathways. Limitations of AI is not a replacement for experience. Everything depends on the quality of the input information. It always requires human review. You're a very brave person if you do something in AI and don't review it and just send it off, but you always want to make sure that you're following up. AI is a tool, not a decision maker. It supports your experience and expertise, but it does not replace it. Okay, energy and sustainability is another topic we'll get into within a little bit more detail. Um, energy compliance starts at the design phase. Decisions are made during the design, such as installation, window placement, system selections, have the greatest impact on the energy performance. Waiting until later stages to address these issues often leads to higher costs, limited option. AI helps bring these considerations forward into the process. AI as a design phase tool. AI can act as a decision support tool during the design phase by quickly evaluating different options, showing how they can affect performance. This allows designers, builders to explore multiple scenarios and make more informed choices without significantly increasing the design time. Like any of the iteration processes, you make a design, you feed this design process into the AI software, and might look at that and make suggestions and send this back to you. You can take those ideas and make those suggestions, changes, or you can keep things the way they were. Faster feedback than traditional modeling. Traditional energy modeling can take significant time and effort. AI provides faster feedback by simplifying complex relationships and allowing near real-time analysis. This makes it easier to test ideas, refine designs, and identify potential issues earlier in the design process. AI support for envelope design. The builder envelope system plays a major role in performance. AI can help evaluate wall assemblies, installation strategies, window selection, and continuous installation options. This helps team optimize designs for both efficiency and constructability. And one of the areas I think we get a lot of questions on is, can you help us design a wall assembly to the PHRC? And we are not a design firm, so we generally try to not do that. We can make suggestions and talk about the the wall assembly itself. Um, this is just one of those tools that can help in the design phase. If you want to try or go through 3 or 4 different types of wall assemblies, AI can help you generate 3 or 4 different types of assemblies. It can also identify heat loss and gain risks, detect thermal weak points, evaluate insulation effectiveness, highlight thermal bridging risks, support high performance design decisions. Solar gain and layout optimization, building orientation and layout influences how a home performs. AI can analyze sunlight exposure, window placement, and layout options to improve natural lighting and reduce unwanted heat gain, contributing to more effective and comfortable homes. It can also help with indoor air quality. Indoor air quality is increasingly important in residential construction. AI can support decisions related to ventilation strategies, moisture control, material selections, helping create a healthier indoor environment while maintaining energy efficiency. And it can support compliance pathways. AI can help teams understand different compliance approaches by highlighting how design decisions affect performance. It supports decision making by identifying potential gaps and suggesting adjustments early, reducing changes later. It is not a replacement for compliance tools. It doesn't replace, you can't use this in replace of ResCheck. It's not ResNet. It's none of those things. It can only help you prepare for those if that's the path you're going to go down. It is not a replacement for compliance tools, does not substitute for ResCheck or HERS modeling, requires validation by professionals. That's a very important one. Outputs are recommendations, not approvals. We all know we must align with the PAUCC as far as Pennsylvania goes, documentation requirements, and it helps with those as well. And it's cost versus performance optimization. We're always looking on how we can get a better building without breaking the bank. AI is one of those tools that can make suggestions and maybe to get better performance while balancing the cost in it as well. When we do that as an individual, it takes time. We look at different heating and cooling systems. We look at different insulation strategies. We look at all these things. Like, let's beef up this area. How much is it going to affect the cost? And that takes time. It takes a lot of time. AI is one of those tools that can help reduce that time when doing those sort of calculations. Smarter design, better homes, stronger outcomes. AI helps to enhance design decisions. Faster feedback helps with reduce redesign cycle. Energy modeling support code compliance and balancing cost versus performance that drives your value. Especially when the design feedback loop, when we talk about these things, we all learned about these in high school. You make a design, you send it in for review. People make those suggestions or changes. It comes back, you make those changes, and we're always trying to make our processes faster, more efficient. By making these faster, more efficient, we're potentially, hopefully, reducing the overall cost of our projects. In AI and design, and why it matters. Good design decisions early lead to better homes, lower cost, fewer problems. Again, the earlier we're making these decisions, the earlier we're making these final choices, these committed choices in the design process, the less reiterations we're doing, the less changes we're doing down the road, and the more continuity we're going to have, especially when we're talking about hiring subcontractors, getting bids on contracts. All these things are much more effective and much more, with the words I'm trying to cost fixed, if the better details we have in the beginning. If you have the initial plan and it's kind of broad and not very nailed down, as we get through this process, the construction process, those costs can skyrocket significantly by changes that have to be made because those design decisions weren't made in the beginning correctly. And where AI fits within the design process, it acts like a smart assistant, helping you explore options, understand facts, and make confident decisions faster. Again, it's an assistant. It's no smarter than you. Obviously, you're hopefully you will have better decision making ability than AI will. But it's going to allow you. It's going to give you hopefully decisions, information to make your earlier decisions more effective. What can it or I do today? Code and compliance checks, quickly identify potential code or energy compliance issues. Energy modeling support gets faster feedback on energy performance and trade-offs. Design alternatives, explore different material systems, layouts in seconds. Um, Documentation review, AI can scan plans, inspects missing for missing information or inconsistencies. Documentation reviews, and I think a big one. We all get lots of material coming our way to review. Especially when we're learning about new materials and methods. There's so much information out there. To go through it all takes forever. Um, AI has the ability of going through that information for you and making it more succinct. Um, and shorter so that it doesn't take that process and reduces that documentation review process down. And cost estimation support, compare options and understand cost impacts earlier. And here's just an example of modeling when we talk about you put your design in, AI analyzes, it gives you quick results. Then you have a refined design. You can repeat this loop as many times as you feel you need to until the end result, you get what you need out of this. And then you move forward with hopefully a final complete design. Benefits you can see today, faster feedback in fewer days, better decisions with less guesswork, lower risk of compliance issues, more options, easier comparisons, better outcomes with less money, hopefully. What is coming next? AI technology is improving quickly. Here is what we can potentially expect in the near future. Some of this is already here on the very basic level. Smart design assistants will understand your goals and suggest best solutions automatically. Real-time optimization, construction coordination, and predictive performance. Some of this stuff is already here, especially on these pay platforms. There's many different types of pay platforms out there. Um, and obviously, the more you're willing to spend on these platforms, the better quality of these assistants you're going to get. How do you get started? You don't need to be an expert in AI. Just start small and build from there. Identify where you're having the most trouble. Where are your pain points within your business? If you're a design firm, if you're a construction firm, if you're an inspector, where are you most losing your time? Where is your time being used on tasks that are not complicated and difficult? They're just time consuming. Where can AI help you during those processes? Um, try it in small bits. Try it, you know, don't go out there and invest a lot of money. Just don't join a platform right away. Try these. There are free platforms out there that can at least get you an introduction to AI and how it works. And based on that, it can even itself walk you through how it can help you. And learn and refine. Like I said, I've been using this. We've all been using AI in some form. I've never used it specifically for specific tasks to create or help design things until recently. And I can see that my progression in the past 2 months has been pretty significant in how well I'm able to at least understand how I interact with AI and how AI interacts with me and the benefits it gives me. And scale what works. What works for you, keep making that better, improving in that area. AI, and again, I want to reemphasize AI is not going to replace you. It will empower you. It's only a tool. Um, it's only as good as its inputs. It's only as good as the information you're giving it. Um, and some of the things I want you to take away, AI enhances the process. Um, it supports design, provides faster feedback. You get better energy and performance outcomes. Balances cost and performance, improves construction quality and compliance. All these things are important, but like I said, if you want to make sure that you're starting small, you don't try to just implement AI across the board. Pick an area where you're feeling like you're wasting your time, that are tasks that are simple that you can turn over to AI, that AI would be something that it can do and that you could review quickly and understand quickly.